gosh, I can't believe I'm actually doing another one of these videos. I guess it's been a while. First off, apologies for the sounding like I'm talking through a phone. My studio mics are MIA right now, hopefully, just because they're in storage and I haven't gotten all scatterbrained and completely lost them, but I want to do a little bit of a video looking at a new feature for Unto the Breach. So as I was hinting at in the picture that I posted on the Facebook page, looks like there's something a little different from the interface displays here. So I was thinking about the various gameplay elements and trying to think other things I could do to make playing Unto the Breach more interesting or distinct from other games. And one thing that has been a constant in RPGs from the earliest days of Dungeons & Dragons through basically every game that's still coming out today is the level system as a means of measuring progression. If you ever played an RPG, you know it, you're familiar with it. It's the go-to mechanic for getting stronger after you kill stuff, or, complete quests, or do whatever. Of course, it's basically been done to death and then some, without a huge amount of variation for, 40 years now. So, I was thinking, how can I make progression feel at least kind of original in Unto the Breach, and as well as provide more player agency, which I'm always in favor of. So, to that end, I have completed the basics of a system for Unto the Breach that essentially eliminates levels. There is going to be level-less progression in this game. So we go to status screen, where there was once the experience. I've just replaced it with the basic profile system. That should update over the course of the game, give you a little more background on your characters. Instead, how progress will work is you will acquire, I'm calling them CP or class points right now. I might just change it back to XP. You'll acquire that for killing monsters and completing quests and all that. Pretty much like XP in general, but instead of having defined levels, instead, you will use these class points to not only learn new skills, but also control your character's stat progressions. So as you can see here, there's some passive skills, so to speak, that result in increasing Alex's primary stats instead of learning any new abilities. As it is right now, of course, there's only a few abilities visible, but there'll be a bit of a progression system, so you'll need to learn certain active abilities before you can learn other ones, i.e. the basic heal before you can learn the medium heal, or basic elemental attack before you can learn the area of effect attack. So, not having any class points right now, let's go to the good old field of testing. And this stump looks interesting. Let's interact with this a few times. Head back into the menu, and we've got a huge bank of class points to learn. If only real life were that easy, huh? We'll go here and use this, and Alex's max hit points has gone up by 3%. Of course, every successive time that you use one of these skills, the number of class points you'll need to increase it again continues to go up. And we can keep on going, assuming you have actually racked up enough points. You can just keep on going until you hit the actual maximum, 9,999 hit points. For testing purposes right now, it increases by 5 class points for each time you use it, but there'll probably be a fair bit of tweaking and tuning and all that good stuff as I figure out a progression curve for the player. I don't want it to take just 5 minutes to completely max out every stat, but also I would imagine nobody's terribly interested in spending 40 hours just grinding CPs to get their stats up. So, in addition to the passive stats, we can learn new active abilities. So, Alex will pick up the healing skill. If I had this more configured, after you learn this one, you would learn the AoE heal ability, and of course, successive tiers of skills will cost significantly more class points to learn. So additionally, you may notice these little bars under the active abilities here. If we go to Alex's other abilities, you can see those, the little bars underneath the name and cost for each of his abilities there. You can see it for everybody else's active abilities as well. I'll get to that in a minute. Now, the primary mechanic for controlling difficulty of the monsters is because they will still continuously get more powerful as you get more powerful as well, is going to be that monsters killed tracker in the corner there. It was originally just meant to be more monsters you killed, the more rewards you get from the Mercenaries Guild, but it's going to have a little added functionality. So, basically, depending on how many monsters you kill, the monsters will also continue to level up. For the monsters, they still have the traditional level 1 to 99. There wasn't really a way for me to have their stats dynamically adjusted based on your own, especially given that you may be spending your points in wildly different ways between your characters, and that might cause things to get a little too imbalanced. So, let's try touching this sparkly thing. I've got a battle. There's some test slimes. So we see here that their levels are based are pretty low right now because we haven't done much, but we will do some things. So this is where these bars I was talking about are going to come into effect. In addition to controlling your character's passive stat progression and learning new abilities, we also are going to have a skill mastery system. Essentially, the more times you use the skill, the more powerful it gets. So as you can see here, I'm using these various active abilities. And as I use them, they will continue to gain experience in each of those skills. And of course, after you use each skill a certain number of times, you can see here that Allie's hamstring bar is filled up a little bit more. Once it levels up, there will be an additional number next to the bar indicating what its current and maximum level is. Most skills will go to level 10, a few will only go to level 5. And essentially they will continue to improve, and large part offensive abilities will do more damage for each level they have. Healing abilities, of course, will heal more. Most abilities will get more efficient in terms of their energy usage. Buffs and debuffs will last, will either last a little longer or have a stronger effect. I haven't quite nailed that down yet. But it gives you incentive to keep using a variety of abilities, as well as gives you an additional means of getting stronger without also having a bunch of additional skills that are essentially the same thing as the previous skill, just a little stronger. So rather than going from Fireball 1 to Fireball 2, you basically just have one single target attack and one AoE attack that gets continuously more powerful as you level them up. And even the basic skills, attack and guarding, will also level up like the rest of these skills. Obviously, certain characters like Lucy is probably not going to be too worried about leveling up her auto attack, but Allie could likely make good use of it, in case you're trying not to blow through all your SP in a single fight. So, let's finish this guy off. And we've got the Battle Aftermath. You can see how much Zero we get, how many class points we got for winning the battle, and of course, it shows their current totals for each character. So, because I can do this, let's go ahead and crank up, oops, not that one. Let's go ahead and crank up the number of monsters we've killed. Let's pretend that we've been playing the game for a while, and let's cook our books a little bit. Yeah, that racks up pretty quickly. I am definitely going to be adjusting that. Probably drastically reducing that. Oh, goodness. Yeah, that is going up way too fast. Heal back up to full. Alright. One more time. Okay, Alex is pretty much all fully buffed up. And the other three are still total scrubs right now. I haven't fully implemented their stat learning skills yet. Alright, so, anyway, as we can see now, the monsters are significantly higher level. This is also affected by the difficulty slider in the options menu, so that the levels of the monsters can vary. Their exact level relative to how many monsters you've killed can be adjusted to either the normal amount, you can cut it in half, or you can double it if you want to, or anywhere in between, just about. Alright, so we're going to use some more magic, see if we can get one of these skills to level up. Right now, there's not a whole lot that it'll show to indicate that you leveled up, but there will be animations later on to convey that information to the player. And really, even if the ability doesn't work, you do 0 damage or whatever, it still counts. This one might take a minute, since Alex has to basically hard carry the entire party now. Maybe we can fast forward a little bit. Alright, so that should be the last use needed. And there. We got that animation, but, you know, if you weren't aware of the system, you'd just be kind of like, what was that? It was sparkly, but what was that? Alright, so, Shards is level up. Now it is officially level 1. Everything essentially starts at level 0. And we will be able to keep track of our progression over the course of the game. Of course, subsequent levels take more attempts to go up, but, you know, gives you additional goals to work towards. Okay, one more use of Hamstring should do it. I believe to get to level 1 it only requires 5 uses, but that amount, of course, also goes up with each subsequent level. I think I mentioned that part already. Alright, so yeah, there we go. Instead of levelless progression, you'll have a more constant granular progression. You can control how each of the characters progresses, and the exact skills and amounts that these will increase is going to vary from character to character. They'll have their own versions of it, essentially. Obviously, like, you know, Allie or Alex might be more interested in attack, while Lucy's equivalent probably would be very minimal, because, you know, if you're auto-attacking with a mage, something's gone wrong. So if we go back to the stat screen, there we can see attack is buffed all the way to maximum power. So I believe that covers everything right now. I hope y'all enjoyed this, are looking forward to this, and I will hopefully see some of you very soon. Ave Templari.